In the early 1830s, America chose expansion over humanity. The Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Seminole had lived in the Southeast for generations, cultivating land-building schools and signing treaties with the United States. Many believed that adopting farming Christianity and written laws would protect them. But greed spoke louder than promises. White settlers and speculators wanted their fertile lands rich in cotton and gold. In 1830, President Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, claiming it would save native nations by moving them west. Behind the words of protection lay a brutal truth. The United States would force entire tribes from their homes. No treaty, no law, no Supreme Court decision could stop the hunger for land. Native voices were silenced under the weight of expansion, setting the stage for one of the cruelest journeys in American history. Families would soon face exile, starvation, and death. Would you have survived such betrayal? The Cherokee resisted with hope in law. In 1832, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Worcester, Georgia, that their sovereignty must be respected. Yet President Jackson allegedly sneered, "Let them enforce it." Soldiers ignored the court, and treaties became weapons. In 1835, a small faction of Cherokee leaders, without the consent of the majority, signed the Treaty of New Echeta, ceding all tribal land in the southeast. Most Cherokee rejected it, but Congress ratified it anyway. The removal deadline came. U.S. troops marched into Cherokee villages in 1838, dragging families from their homes. Soldiers gave them minutes to gather belongings. Mothers carried infants. Elders stumbled barefoot, and sacred objects were left behind. Homes were looted, fields abandoned, and communities destroyed. The Choctaw called their removal a trail of tears and death. For the Cherokee, the same horror was about to unfold. Can a nation built on law survive when it defies? From 1838 to 1839, under armed guard, the Cherokee and other tribes were forced to march westward toward what is now Oklahoma. The journey covered more than 1,000 miles through freezing rivers, snow, and scorching plains. Disease swept through the camps. Dysentery, measles, and starvation claimed lives daily. Soldiers showed little mercy. Families buried loved ones in shallow graves along the roadside, often forbidden to stop long enough for proper mourning. Children froze to death in their mothers' arms. Entire villages dwindled as hunger hollowed their ranks. Historians estimate that at least 4,000 Cherokee perished, nearly one-fourth of their people. Other tribes suffered similar losses. To the United States government, it was a policy completed. To native nations, it was a scar carved into memory, an exile that would echo across generations. What would you carry if forced from your home with only minutes? By 1840, the forced removals had emptied the southeast of its original inhabitants. The Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole were confined to Indian territory, far from the lands that had shaped their culture and history. The promise of peace in the West proved hollow. Conflict with other tribes. Poor soil and broken U.S. commitments continued. The trauma of removal lived on in songs, oral histories, and the silence of survivors who saw their families erased. Today, the Trail of Tears is remembered not just as a tragic journey, but as a warning of what happens when greed and power strip away humanity. It stands as one of the darkest chapters in American history, a state-sanctioned crime against native nations. Every step on that road carried grief, resistance, and survival. Do you believe America has ever truly faced the weight of this crime? Comment your thoughts and subscribe at History.